All right, so that wraps up our news section, and we're going to go ahead and jump right into our interview with Isabel and find out the details on this fantastic story about the Bon Iver tattoo. Isabel, thank you very much for joining us. We're excited. I know our kind of interview and everything, exploration into some of your experiences started with a Bon Iver picture on the internet. So I know Colleen took the picture, so I'm going to step away from, I'm going to step out for a minute here and just let Colleen roll with this because it was her picture that kind of started this whole connection here. So,
well, actually, a little background on that. It was from Pitchfork a few years ago, and I love Bon Iver. I mean, I've seen them a few times, and I got a chance to photograph them, and it was when they were really not big at all. It was their kind of first CD, and they. I don't know. There actually wasn't a lot of people there when I was photographing, and it was a really kind of intimate setting. And he had turned around to get his other guitar. He was switching from acoustic to electric, and I snapped that shot. And actually, it gets a lot of hits, and a lot of people like it and enjoy it. And I love to get those little pieces of live shows because I think as a whole, it makes our experience when we see these different things. We see people around us. We see. How the weather is, how the, just how the band sounds. I mean, it kind of makes the experience. So, actually, I got to, background information, I got to talk to Isabel kind of via Flickr about this picture.
Yeah.
So we have her on, and we're just excited to ask her about her live music experiences.
Yeah. So, Isabel, you mentioned, you'd seen. Now, did you see Bon Iver before you saw the picture? And
yes, I actually did. After I saw him, I'd been looking at, just because I heard the song Holocene by him, and I really, really love. That's my favorite song. And the first opening lines of it is "Some way, baby, it's part of me, apart from me." So I was really thinking about getting that tattooed on me at first, but I thought about it for a couple months, and I just didn't really know what was a part of me apart from me yet. So I was like, I'm not gonna get something that I'm not really sure what it means to me yet. So then I was just searching like his tattoos and looking at what he had, and I really liked two, and that was then, and his other one that says, I said, remember this as how it should be. And I was going back and forth between those two, and I realized that that was then one fit more in my life with like my family and my past experiences, and just like listening to him. Like his music makes me feel calm and relaxed, and makes me want to like let go and forget things that I've just been holding on to. Yeah. So I thought that would be the perfect tattoo to get, and I put it on my back, not in the exact same spot as his, but it's more low underneath like my rib cage, and I don't know, I love it. It's in a typewriter font, and I've had it since August, and I'm just obsessed with it. Everyone comments on it and says they really like it, and I'm so happy that you guys took that picture, because I wouldn't have my tattoo right now if you didn't.
Now, when you were getting that tattoo, because we've talked about this before, kind of the concept of, when you go to a show, you're one person, and when you're at the show, you start this like transformation of like how the music is changing you, and then when you leave, like you're a different person because of like what has happened, at that. Obviously, you had a pretty powerful, emotional experience at this first show where you experienced that. What was that live show experience a part of the, like when you got the tattoo? Like, were you thinking about the show, and like how did the live music experience become a part when you're putting the the ink on your body and kind of like that whole process?
It definitely struck a chord with me, being there and just watching him with like 18,000 other people, or however many went that year to Coachella, but it was a lot of people, and just you feel like you're one, like with everyone around you. It's crazy, and that's like one of the things I love. And just like his music is so calming, and it's not like everyone's jumping around like pushing each other or anything. It's just everyone feels good, And, like, that's what I love about him and his music, and it just made me want to get something, like, a part of him tattooed on me, I guess.
Do you remember anything specifically from your first show with them that you saw with them?
Yeah. He was actually playing Holocene, and I'm really short, so my friend had to put me on his shoulders so I could breathe because we were super close to the front. And after he played that song, I was like, okay, like, I'll just watch from the back because I'm dying. I don't want to suffocate up here. So I got crowd surfed out. And on my way out, no one's, like, jumping around or anything, so no one would expect someone to be crowd surfing in the middle of Bon Iver, except I was. So this lady accidentally scratched me. And as I came out of the crowd, I noticed my back was bleeding, and I have actually a scar on my shoulder from this. And he was playing Blood Bank from his self-titled album, and I just was really shocked that I have two marks from Bon Iver on me, one from Blood Bank and one from himself. So nice. I thought that's pretty cool. 2 stories about him.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, and now, have you had any other, experiences, I mean, it's just amazing to think about, how you, this emotional connection that you have to, Bon Iver's music and the live show and these, these like permanent marks on your body, from like that experience and how it's all connected. Do you have any other concerts that have like moved you in that way, or, is like Bon Iver this like on such a pedestal, such a like untouchable spot for you, or what other bands have moved you in this way?
I think that there have definitely been other bands that have moved me like that. For one, Coldplay, I've seen them like 2 or 3 times, and every time I see them, I just feel so good after, and I feel really like happy and optimistic about everything, which I love. I just love going out and seeing people like who care for all their fans so much that they continue to write music and do all this stuff and help people get through things that they're feeling. And I just think it's great that they can tour all over the world so that people can see them and experience them live and just feel like that oneness with all the other people around them, instead of just being like alone and listening to it and relating with other people around them. I think it's really great.
Now, we talked a lot on our show about going to shows with friends or going alone, or we talked a lot about that. Do you usually go with a group of friends? Do you usually hit shows alone? How does that work for you usually?
Usually I go with, my dad actually takes me to a lot of the shows I go to because he has been to everything possible. But now as I'm getting older, I'm starting to go more and more with my friends. And last year when I saw Bon Iver at Coachella, and when I saw him like 2 days after I saw him at Coachella, like I went with a friend, and now, I think I'm just growing into it like more with my friends, but I don't go with like big groups. I go with just like 1 or 2, just so it's more intimate, I think. So like you can actually like relate instead of having like a big group of people and like all jumping around, like messing around,
How did your dad take you to your first show? Is that how?
Yes, he took me to Radiohead when I was in 9th grade.
Wow,
it was the best show ever. It was
awesome.
So great. And ever since that show, like I've never stopped wanting to go to concerts. That was like the first thing that got me going. And then after that, it was Coldplay, and then it was Foo Fighters, and then it was this and that and that, and the list just keeps going and going and going. And I haven't been able to stop. I've just, every time I hear of a band coming out with a new album, I immediately check their tour dates, try to see if I could get to one of their shows. So it's really great.
Now, how do you feel about going to see shows in smaller venues versus like the big festivals where you get to see tons and tons of bands?
Well, I guess the smallest place I've been to a show, it's not even that small. Like, I mean, it's great to see the band just by themselves because they're like more in. I feel like they're more into it, and like they want to try harder because like they know like they're the main reason that they're going to be there, so the performance is better. But it just depends. Like they could also be like really into it if they're playing a big show, like at a big festival with a whole bunch of other bands too. But I think I like the smaller, more intimate ones better because when I saw Bon Iver that second night after Coachella, I actually cried during one of his songs that he performed like 2 nights before, but 2 nights before I didn't feel like that. But when I saw him alone, it made me like want to just cry. I don't know. It's crazy how that.
Which song was it?
Yeah,
it was Wash, but off his new album.
Okay, yeah,
it's Wash. So I don't know.
If you don't mind me asking, I mean that's kind of interesting. I know I've been at shows where I get kind of I was
emotional.
at a you know, it just you get kind of ambushed. You know, it's like I was talking with somebody else about this recently that you know you kind of go to a show sometimes to escape, and you almost get ambushed by you know a part of the music. You know, kind of surprises you and moves you in a way, whether that be you know just utter excitement or you know or something you know moves you where you know it's more of a grief or mourning or joy or whatever, whether it be you know through tears. I was at a show with Rah Rah Riot one time, and it was you know it was a pretty emotional moment in my life, and I was just like, wow, I didn't really expect that. You know, I was trying to like escape from some things, and the music actually turned me towards that. What was that? If you don't mind me asking, like, what was there something about the show or some period in your you know moment in your life that kind of brought that out?
I think that I was so overwhelmed by a lot of school and family and just pressure that when I went and saw him that second time, that the song Wash like is like if you watch his online videos that like go with it, like it's him at the beach walking through the ocean, and I was just thinking like the song felt like it was washing away all that pressure I had on my shoulders, and like it was really overwhelming, and I couldn't help myself. I just started crying.
Wow.
That's amazing. I'm getting emotional hearing you talk about that. 'Cause that's, I mean, that really is. I mean, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, that's
no problem.
That's just yeah. I'm actually kind of speechless because that's amazing when a fellow concert fan can share that. I mean, that's one of the reasons I love live music. I don't know about you, Colleen. I think
absolutely.
We've had some.
It's amazing how different listening to it maybe in your room or in headphones and then actually being at the show. It just there's so much more that goes on internally, externally that you can't recreate, you know, on your own.
Exactly, and it's real too. It's not like it's just a recorded thing that you're listening to. It's actually playing right in front of you, which makes it 10 times more intense.
Have there been any other concert experiences that have kind of blown you away, or any experiences that you had with your dad that maybe bonded you guys in a way that, you know, you couldn't do without the music or without the live music experience?
Yes. When we were at Lollapalooza 2 years ago, and KG Elephant played. It was Saturday, and this ginormous storm came ripping through. I live in California, so I pretty much thought we were all going to die because it was so big. And they were playing Shake Me Down in the rain, and me and my dad were just standing there. And this is like, I've actually met the lead singer to KG Elephant and the brother, Matt. I think they're Matt and I forget the other guy's name, but I met them both, and so me and my dad saw them at Lolla, and then it starts raining, and they're playing Shake Me Down in the rain, and everyone is just going crazy, and me and my dad are both dancing, like going wild, like not even caring that it's pouring rain and thunder's roaring everywhere, and it was just like really overwhelming. And after, we just like gave each other a huge hug, and we're just like, I love you. Like, I was like, thank you for letting me experience that. That was one of my favorite concert, like, moments, I think, just because of, like, how perfect it was. Like, even on a cloudy day, look at the sun, like, don't feel bad. Like, even though it's raining, like, just be happy. And like me and my dad were both like way too happy to express like words. I can't even explain it, but it's crazy what music can do with the right setting, you know?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, that's fascinating too, because another great story. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, that's just the image in my mind here is just like blowing me away as I'm kind of watching that unfold as you're telling that, and to kind of put that in context too. It's like we were at that Lollapalooza, and I remember Colleen and I were we were covering it, and we were there, and I remember getting like running for shelter from this like torrential downpour. And we live in Chicago, we're used to this stuff, but you never quite get used to it, right?
Yeah.
So and here you are, we're huddled underneath this like alcove hiding from the rain, and you're out there listening to the music, like absorbing it, and it's like one of your favorite moments, favorite concert moments. That's just amazing. I mean, it's funny, to think of Lollapalooza. A lot of times it's such a big, expansive, like, experience, and sometimes you lose the micro moments, of joy and just what you just experienced. But you just put that Lollapalooza experience in like a completely different perspective. So thank you again, and that's
no problem.
That's pretty awesome. So that's cool. You can have those experiences with your dad. I think that's something that really can again, it just takes that to that next level. Has there been anything when you and your dad started going to shows, you started taking to shows, did he tell you anything about the live concert experience?
Yeah.
Does he teach you about it, or like just like some of the things, like what he looks for, and like have you like learned from him in that way?
Yeah, he's told me all the tricks, all the rules, like, okay, if you want to get to the front, you have to weasel your way through, like, just squirm through, like, just don't even care, just get through, say, I'm sure, let me in the front, like, telling me all these little things. And like, even when the Coachella last year was like the first like big music festival or like big concert I went to by myself because he didn't go, and he was like, don't take any drugs from anyone, don't take any of this, don't do any of that, don't do any of this. And I'm like, okay, like, I got you, like, I won't accept anything from anyone. And he's like, don't be stupid, don't like, I don't know, just like regular things a parent would say. But my mom was actually saying, like, the one who was like, don't crowd surf, don't let people pick you up and put you in the air. And it was funny because when Justice came out to play, my friends and I were standing at the very, very front, and they were 30 minutes late, so everyone was just kind of waiting antsy for them to come on. And an inflatable dolphin was being thrown through the crowd, and one of my friends looked and said, Isabel, if that dolphin comes over here, we're putting you on it. And I'm like, haha, like, okay, whatever. Yeah, it's not going to come over here. 2 seconds later, they have the dolphin. And next thing I know, I'm on top of the dolphin, holding onto it like a pool dolphin. And everyone in the entire crowd is screaming, yeah! Like 80,000 people just screaming, cheering for me. And I guess I was on the live webcast. I was on the dolphin probably like a minute, everyone just cheering. There's actually pictures of it on Flickr if you look it up, or even if you Google Coachella 2012 dolphin, I'll pop up right there on Google Images. It's crazy. And I went super far back into the crowd, and then I just pointed to the front, and everyone was like, I was like, my friends are at the front, and they all let me go back, and I was all with my friends, so it was crazy. And when I told my parents about that, they were just like, no, like, that's not true, that's unbelievable, you didn't do that. And right after I told them, I actually just Googled it to see if there would be any pictures, and it was the first picture on Google Images, and I showed them, and they're like, what? They were speechless, they didn't know.
Nice. That's awesome. So do you have Coachella's coming up soon, and the summer festival season too. What shows do you have some planned, or what's on your concert calendar?
Well, I haven't gotten a ticket for Coachella, and I really would like to go, but I'm not sure if I'm going to end up getting one just because the tickets are like everyone's selling them super overpriced, and I don't really want to pay like $600 for a ticket, you know?
Right.
So I might just wait for Lolla, or like what would be awesome is if I could get at my hands on a Glastonbury ticket in England. I would be so happy if I could do that. I'm probably going to travel abroad this summer, so I know there's a lot of festivals in Europe, like there's a couple in Denmark that are supposedly really big, and of course Glastonbury is like the biggest in the world, so that would be awesome if I could go there.
Yeah, we'd love to have, if we'd love to extend the opportunity to be a correspondent, and
that'd be cool.
Kind of report back. We haven't had the pleasure of being to Glastonbury yet, and from what I've seen and some of the other fans that we've interviewed, and just looking at the history of that festival, I mean that's it's a rite of passage, I think, from what most people say. From what I've seen, from the mud and just the experience itself. So hopefully you can get a chance to go out there. But we'd love to have you. If you're out there, traveling abroad and going to festivals and things like that, we'd love to have you, contribute in and kind of check in and let us know.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, guys.
All right, that was a fantastic chat with Isabel, and I think that
there's some really dedicated fans out there.
There are, and and I'm not a photographer. You're the photographer here, and you just have to. I mean, you just have to be thinking now about like the photos that you take at shows and how that impacts somebody's experience. I mean, that's what I kept thinking about, and I just it's forever going to change my perspective.
I think I have to capture. I'm responsible for capturing a moment, and if that moment means, if it touches someone that much, then so be it. But I think ultimately my goal is to capture a moment or a mood or a feeling at a show, and hopefully that's what comes across in my photography.
I mean, you've taken so many pictures over the years, and this is just one person who's come forward and said this is what's happened after looking at one of your photos. So who knows what else that has happened. And thank you very much to Isabel for coming on the show and sharing her story. And I think we're going to have her dad on the show. That sounds like
Absolutely,
too, right? He's got some good stories to tell too.
I'd love to have her dad there.
Yeah, excellent. So just about wraps up our show. So our next episode's coming up soon. Over the next couple of weeks, got some great shows coming up for you. One, we got Nick Collette from co-founder of Listly, great tool out there that you can use to collect lists. I know music fans are huge. And have you ever seen High Fidelity, John Cusack?
I have, yes.
It's all about lists, right?
Yep.
All about lists, right? The perfect list. So we're going to have one of the top list makers on.
And you won't be disappointed.
No.
Because I've listened, I've heard some of it. And
fantastic chat.
And
fantastic chat. He's got some great stories to tell about Annie Lennox, Melissa Etheridge, and some bands I never even heard of, but he's got great stories to tell. And then coming soon after that, we finally got our show coming up with live music fashion. So we've talked with a couple great perspectives, both on the lady side and the gentleman side, of kind of getting the whole perspective of live music fashion and how that's changed culture and vice versa.
So we'll talk about what not to wear at a show.
Yeah, we got a head-to-toe breakdown of like what you want to wear to a show. So, and then we have the alternate perspective of don't tell people what to wear to a show, just go, right? So we're going to get into that in the next couple of weeks. So you guys are not going to want to miss any of those shows. But that just about does it for our episode this week. Again, thank you for listening. Go to livefixblog.com. Again, follow us on Facebook, Twitter. Keep your eyes out on Twitter for some exciting chats coming out of that. But that just about does it.
Till next time.
Just about does it. Thank you very much. And we will see you at the show.